just off the coast of San Diego, California, early Thursday morning.
Splashdown of Crew-11. After 167 days in space, Dragon and NASA astronauts Zena Cardman and Mike Finke, Kimiya Yui of JAXA, and Roscosmos cosmonaut Oleg Platonov are back on Earth.
NASA completed its first medical evacuation from space.
Dragon, SpaceX, we see splashdown.
SpaceX Dragon, copy, concur, splashdown, and mains are cut. We are in 4.800.
SpaceX copies, and we see the same, mains cut. On behalf of SpaceX and NASA, welcome home, Crew-11.
SpaceX Dragon, it's so good to be home. With deep gratitude to the teams who got us there and back.
The saga began a week prior when, on Wednesday, January 7th, NASA announced it was postponing a planned spacewalk due to a medical issue with a crew member on board the space station. The day after, NASA Administrator Jared Isaacman announced that Crew-11 would be coming home a month earlier than originally planned.
After discussions with Chief Health and Medical Officer Dr. J.D. Polk and leadership across the agency, I've come to the decision that it's in the best interest of our astronauts to return Crew-11 ahead of their planned departure.
The Monday that followed, NASA astronaut and Crew-11 pilot Mike Finke handed command of the space station over to Roscosmos cosmonaut Sergei Kudshverkov.
This is a really precious space station. It's right now in the middle of transition. We have all these cargo vehicles and cargo everywhere. We're leaving you with a lot of work, but also with a lot of knowledge, knowing that you guys are really going to do super well. Sergei, it's an honor and a pleasure to be a commander, and I cannot imagine being happier than to hand over command to you.
Finke also took to his profile on the business social media site LinkedIn to post a lengthy message. Regarding the decision to come home early, he said, quote, "It's the right call, even if it's a bit bittersweet." Then on January 14th at about 5:20 p.m. Eastern Time,
undocking confirmed. Endeavour begins its journey home with the Crew-11 crew.
The Dragon Endeavour spacecraft undocked from the International Space Station to begin the roughly 10.5-hour long trip home for the crew. Shortly before 3 a.m. Eastern Time the following day, Dragon performed its deorbit burn, firing the forward thrusters to help slow down the vehicle for final re-entry. People across California, like SpaceX's John Edwards, the vice president of Falcon and Dragon, captured video and photos of Dragon Endeavour streaking across the sky, illuminated by the plasma buildup during atmospheric re-entry. Isaacman, who himself has flown to space twice as a private astronaut, gave his thoughts about watching re-entry while at the Johnson Space Center in Houston, Texas.
I do obviously have a lot of experience with Dragon vehicle, and that's why I was, I think, in a position to follow along and know that we were doing things in absolutely the correct way. As for just general reactions of seeing, people that are, astronauts that are happy in space and coming home from it, sure, that I think that triggers a little bit of an emotional reaction for a lot of us in the room who had been through those circumstances. To me, I think probably the best moment of all was just seeing the reactions of the families that had come here at Johnson Space Center to watch their loved ones come back safely from space.
Once Dragon was in the water, it was checked out by Detachment 3, or Det 3, from the U.S. Space Force to ensure that the capsule was safe for approach. The Dragon was then pulled up to the recovery vessel Shannon, hoisted onto the cradle nicknamed the Nest, before it was finally then moved to the egress platform. The side hatch opened at 4:19 a.m. Eastern Time, giving the Crew-11 team their first breath of fresh air since launching on August 1st, 2025. Starting with Finke, the crew were helped out of the capsule, one by one, to get preliminary medical checkouts.
We did make a decision prior to today, a couple of days earlier, that we were bringing the crew to a medical facility in the San Diego, off the San Diego area. And so the crew will stay there. They'll stay there overnight, and we expect to bring the crew back to Houston on Friday, obviously pending the medical. And, we do this, we bring the crew there. We do the medical activities that Dr. Polk talked about with you a couple days ago, things we can only do on Earth. We're also doing the post-flight data collection on this crew. Every crew has a number of things that they've signed up for. We collect the data, and we use that to learn, help us in exploration. Also to give the crew some rest.
As for what happens next with the International Space Station, Crew-12 will launch sometime in the first half of February. However, Joel Montalbano, the Deputy Associate Administrator for Space Operations, says the timing of that and the departure of 2 cargo vehicles from the ISS are still in flux.
This is what we're going to spend the next few days on, picking a new date for the SpaceX 33 undock, the HTVX unberth, and then how does that work with respect to Crew-12. The teams will look at it and see what makes sense, which one to go first, but that's open work and forward work for us, be probably next week before we get some answers on that.
The timing of the spacewalks, originally planned during Crew-11's time in orbit, are also being rescheduled. Montalbano says those will have to wait until Crew-12 arrives. But even with plans in the work to accelerate the launch date for Crew-12 into early February, Isaacman says that shouldn't interfere with the looming launch of Artemis II, currently targeting no earlier than February 6th.
I took a briefing a couple weeks ago on what happens in that what I would describe as the extremely unlikely event that we need to use 2 suit-up rooms at nearly the same time. And I was like, what a great problem it would be for the agency to have that. Now, what I would say is every one of these campaigns, while there is some overlap of some personnel and roles, are parallel efforts. We bring our crew home, we make preparations for our next crew to the International Space Station with Crew-12, we continue to go through the motions with Artemis II, of which we've already stated we are not going to specify which launch date we are going to pursue within the already published windows until we have Artemis II out at the pad and we get through a wet dress to give us the confidence. So at this point, I don't see any reason why we wouldn't continue along those parallel paths. And if it comes down to a point in time where we have to deconflict between 2 human spaceflight missions, that is a very good problem to have at NASA.
Reporting for Spaceflight Now, I'm Will Robinson Smith.